tribute are underway. The event will have the greatest variety of talent in one show since Live Aid in 1985. The aims of the event are to increase awareness of AIDS and to raise money for AIDS charities around the world while celebrating the life of Freddie Mercury. One of the bands on the bill, Def Leppard, have been Queen fans for years and didn't hesitate to join the bill when they got a call from Brian May.
I think for us it's more, you know, doing it for Queen, you know, doing it for Brian. You know, Brian made the phone call and it's the least we can do, really. I mean, Brian's played on stage with us a few times and, you know, I mean, it's, you know, the same way we lost Steve, it's a terrible thing. You know, they lost Freddie. So the least we can do is just help him out. Yeah. Probably the last opportunity we'll ever get.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just to be involved in such an amazing gig. I mean, it's such a brilliant lineup. Just to be involved in that is like this amazing honour that's like, it's very flattering to be asked in the first place. But, you know, if it all goes well, it's going to be one hell of a day.
And it's your first show in 4 years?
It'll be the first time we've played a gig since
October '88.
October '88.
What do you hope that the concert will achieve for AIDS awareness?
Well, exactly that.
Exactly what you say.
Just awareness, just to get across to people that maybe are just slightly ignorant towards what it's all about, a little bit more information. Hopefully it will also raise a lot of money, which will come in useful in one form or another. But awareness is the most important thing, because if people are aware, then, you know, they don't go into any situations blindly.
Yeah, less people are going to be affected. You know.
Def Leppard, like all the acts on the bill, are using their public profile to warn their fans about the AIDS epidemic. At present, 10 million people are HIV infected, and experts fear that by the year 2000, the figure will rise fourfold.
Obviously, if it's somebody in the public eye, then it's going to get across to more people, and that's the most important thing. It's just, obviously, if it's a celebrity or a well-known person, the avenues are a lot more. It's easy accessible to get to people, and let them tell them just what a deadly thing this is, and that it is getting more and more common.
There's like 5,000 people a day or something worldwide get it. You know, that's a lot. If you can influence anyone, you know, then you're doing a good thing, I think, because a lot of people just are still ignoring it.
Def Leppard album Adrenalize is not all a happy affair. Leppard guitarist Steve Clark died during the recording of the album last year. Clark was an alcoholic who died despite the support of his friends and bandmates, who decided to rest the band for 6 months to give him a chance to get away from the pressures of recording.
We got together with Steve and said, look, you know, this is not doing you any good at all, and it's certainly not doing the band any good. If it's the pressure of this album that's getting you down, what we got as a suggestion is a very informal 6-month leave of absence, where you go home. He got a house in London. He'd only ever slept in it for like 2 nights, I think. Go back to London, get yourself together. He had a little demo studio where he could write songs, sleep in his own bed for more than 2 days, you know, take a shirt out of a wardrobe instead of a suitcase, just live like a human being. And come back in February and see how you are. And never came, because he died in January. And it was a real tragic thing. I mean, it really was. We tried everything we could. It sounds in a way that maybe we let him go, but we didn't. The thing is with alcoholism, an alcoholic has to admit that he has a problem, and Steve never did, and that was his biggest problem. He just couldn't admit to being an alcoholic. And in many respects, that hindered the way that we could help him to any benefit at all, because you know, he would reluctantly go in rehab, and he'd go to AA meetings, but he never really believed he had a problem. So he kind of just suffered, and it got worse and worse and worse, and then one day he just fell asleep and never woke up.
Never really came as a surprise because of the history of it. You know, that was the sad thing. If anything, it was a relief, because it meant that we could actually get on with the record, and we weren't constantly thinking about if Steve had fallen over, or, you know, if he'd hurt himself. And we get phone calls from people saying, you know, oh, you better come down and, you know, see Steve. He's you know, he's done this, he's done that. And in actual fact, that was it was indirectly sort of related to, you know, one of his falling over sessions. He fell over and broke a couple of ribs, and he was put on these painkillers, and he consequently he drank with these painkillers, and we think that's what actually killed him in the end.
Def Leppard, whose long-awaited new album Adrenalize will be out at the end of the month. It's the first album from them since 1987 and only the third since '83, so this is something to really look forward to. Meanwhile, they release a new single, Let's Get Rocked, with a clip directed by Steve Barron.
At the time that we were recording towards the end of the album, it was the last song that we did. It was the kind of thing that we used to take like literally half-an-hour dinner breaks. So what we'd do is, instead of watching the news, there's another bomb gone off, or there's another avalanche or another war going off somewhere, we just used to put The Simpsons on because it lasted half an hour. And it was like, you'd sit around having your dinner and having a good laugh and thinking, can you imagine what it's like to be Bart Simpson? Just this little geek walking around just being an idiot. And it became like an in-studio joke. And when we came to doing the song, it just took that direction.
Do we want to get